Sorry, I wanted to build an aquarium, and I absolutely love how this turned out.
Oh, no, Checho's got crabs.
I freaking love this. We've got a cheeky little dolphin saying hello. Because let's be honest here, we're building a freaking aquarium with a game that's designed for roller coasters. Nope. Hey everybody, how's it going? So thanks for coming along to Unlucky for Tom, episode number 13 of Grosvenor Gardens. And yes, we're back in Planet Coaster, we're building our realistic theme park, and we are ripping off Gardaland. And guys, today's going to be no exception to that. Thank you so much for the last episode. It was the aquarium, all of your kind words about it. It's so worth the piece count and so worth making the game tank. It really, really was. But you can see in the background, the sightline has changed. So if we head to the back of the aquarium, you can see that there is now a double whammy going on. We've got two for the price of one this week. We have ourselves a Vekoma Corkscrew, and we have a very familiar looking junior coaster. So guys, let's talk about this area for a moment, and fair warning, I think I'm about to say gardens quite a lot. So Grosvenor Gardens would have originally had these beautiful gardens, and I'm saying in this like lore of the park, or the canon of the park, that they would have been down in the bottom here, and that's why we've got such awesome lovely winding pathways that go down hills and like tree lined pathways and stuff, because this would have been the beautiful area. And then of course you've got the railway line sitting around the outside, so you could have looked down on it. The theme park has since developed, and of course we've got all of the awesome attractions that we've started to put in, but this would have been the original heart of the park. In fact, it probably doesn't actually go without saying that there would have been an extra entrance somewhere along this line, and I wonder actually if I could make a thing of the admin offices being the old entrance. There's nothing quite like thinking alive, is there? Sorry, I suddenly had a spark of inspiration. I might make the admin offices the old entrance area. Anyway, this would have been put in around about the 1980s when the park originally opened to attract new guests, and so as a result you're going to see a profile of rides that would have been around in the 80s. So you've got a junior coaster here, and then you've got a Vekoma Corkscrew that's going on here. Now the plaza area itself is almost self-explanatory, so you can see how much is tanking, by the way, because the game keeps freezing. So the original path would have come down here into a plaza area. This path is then going to come down into a modern part of the park, but probably wouldn't have been here when this plaza first opened, and then of course you've got the other path that comes down into what would have been the gardens. So let's talk about this corkscrew coaster then. So it's custom built, but this time I've not used the 4-meter method. Shocking! Because I wanted to make it as profiled correctly as I can. Now these things are weird, right? These corkscrew coasters, because they're really quite jagged and quite janky. So it comes down into this really steep drop, and Shaman does it as well at Gardaland, and so yeah, you come down into the first bend and into the lift hill. I think I've set it to 8 miles an hour, so it's relatively fast, into a 45-degree drop. In the 80s, these would not have been pioneering technology. It's, you know, really quite rubbishy technology, and then it has this really flat piece here. So by the way, if you are recognising this layout, of course you are. It's Big Loop at Hyder Park, and it's an off-the-shelf model. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. Like, this park wouldn't have had a custom model. It would have been something off the shelf. It would have either been the Shaman layout, Corkscrew, or Big Loop. So the only reason I can find anywhere, and I can't verify the source for this long straight piece of track, is if it stalls on a loop, it comes back, and then you've got a flat piece of track to evacuate the trains. I can't find anywhere to validate that, but that's apparently why. But anyway, comes into this double loop, and then into turn around, and then into corkscrews. Guys, I'm sorry, not custom corkscrews on this one. They are just the in-game ones. I did try and do custom corkscrews, but they just weren't working out. Then it comes into a block break, and then it comes into a final helix, into another break, and then into the station. Now, the maintenance shed on this one is going to be a rare one. It's kind of hidden, so I'm actually going to follow the lead of Big Loop. And that's actually a side beside the station, but this one is going to be underneath the station. It's not out of the realms of the possibility. What this does mean, though, is because of the way that Planet Coaster does the stations, I'm not going to be able to kit this out as an actual maintenance area. So this would have enough height. Absolutely, it would have enough height, but it just doesn't in-game because of here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to box it off and be done with it. But the Big Loop one is along the side here, and it goes down this same jagged bit. There isn't a transfer track at the back. There's a transfer track at the front. And I don't know how they get the trains back into the station. It's a bit of a weird setup. So anyway, that's why I've chosen to put it underneath. It's a little bit of like Blackpool Pleasure Beach as well, actually, if you think about it, because that's underneath the station and they raise up, because that's genius. It's absolutely bloody genius. And then the second coaster, I've made absolutely no effort to hide. It's PlomplePop. PlomplePop has made a return. And so remember, I said in Chacholandia that this would have been an off-the-shelf model. And that's exactly what this is. It's an off-the-shelf model. So you've got two off-the-shelf coasters. The park, as I said, wouldn't have had any kind of facility to have custom layouts or anything like that. So we've put the junior coaster up here. We put the corkscrew coaster here, and there would have been extra rides and stuff that are along. So then we've got the train station. So of course this is going to be a train station that's going to take you over to the western area. That's where the second station is. I'm in two minds as to whether I'm going to put a third station over here. Comments below, please. Do we want a third station? Is it a good idea? I'm toying. It makes sense, but I'm toying. Now, in hindsight, I do think this station is probably a bit too high. I wish I had, changed the terrain slightly differently. But hey, we're stealing from Gardaland. We can't have it completely identical, right? It's just not a done thing. So I'm going to make a feature of this. I don't know how I'm going to make sense of it, but it's going to make sense. And then we've got the Enterprise, a staple of all 80s areas in any theme park. Sadly, these are all themed around sci-fi and stuff, but it is what it is. It's an Enterprise in the correct area, so I absolutely can't wait to kit this one out. And then we've got the merry-go-round, and then just a more modern ride. It feels like they would have just thumbed this in because they could, because they had space, and it wanted to make a use of the side of the hill. So let me just change the camera. There you go. So it just felt like they would have wanted to make use of the side of the hill, so that's what they've done here. Although only two sides would actually be worth being on, but hey, it's fine. You get some awesome views of the park from here, by the way. Look, I'm really chuffed with how this park is turning out. So I'm going to stop gawking at my work. I'm going to come back up here so I can show you the whole park from up here. So yeah, I'm going to stop gawking at the park. I'm going to carry on building, and I will see you in a minute. Alright then, you guys, you can see there is lots to talk about in this one. Buildings have appeared and coasters have changed colour and rides are working and all sorts. But do you know what? First, can we just talk about B&M? Are you okay, hun? This new dive coaster concept that they've got going on where it's beyond vertical, it just feels like they're running out of innovation and running out of ideas. Surely if a park wanted a beyond vertical coaster, they'd go to someone like Gerstlauer that have perfected this for many years. I don't get what they're trying to do, but hey, let me know in the comments if you've got any theories. I'm not going to trigger you with this one because even I don't like that thought. Just go to Gerstlauer. They've got the model. They've perfected it. Just stop trying to steal other people's business. Anyway, talking of stealing, I'm a fine one to talk. Let's have a look at the area. So yeah, I've changed the colour of the coaster. I wanted this to be a really bold coloured coaster, but garish. This area is supposed to be a complete juxtaposition opposite of everything that's going on, because this is the original area that they've not touched and they've just preserved in this time capsule of 1980s crap that we used to have. So as a result, we've chosen really poorly neon colours. Lots of white, lots of this blue and this purple. I quite like the colour of this coaster, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think it looks really cool. But next to it, we've got just this red and yellow, and then we've got the buildings that are all white, and then you've got this yellow here. It's supposed to be mismatched. This is done by design. I just want to throw that out there because I don't think this is going to come across in the story, right? But yeah, it's supposed to look crap. It's supposed to look out of place. But let's just talk about this coaster. So I've done some custom supporting because I did some research into Vekoma. So remember, this is Vekoma. This is not Arrow. This is Vekoma. So they use these really thick supports along here. I had a look at the idea of what we would do for supports along the hill here, because I did toy with the idea of having bracing supports and stuff, but actually these things are really quite strong. They can take a lot of force. So this is actually okay. And I can't believe you only use 5, is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5. Well, 6 if you count this one. supports on the whole corkscrew element. Like that to me feels a bit weird. But then when you come across to the loops, they're supported to high heaven. It's like you may as well have a support at every section of track. There must be something to do with Vekomas and forces and stuff. But either way, the message that I'm trying to get through here, very badly, like nice and succinct. Well done, Chacho. The message I'm trying to get through here is it's custom supported now. Well, not completely custom supported, but it's got custom supports. And the lift hill, these are correct for Vekoma. If it was Arrow, I would have done the trellising and stuff in here, but it's not. This is Vekoma, so we're going to be dealing with that. So let's have a look at the station. Station itself, I have wanted to go for that wood effect, a very Americana style wood effect. You would have seen me do a very similar station design in the past. It's just a very common station design with this overhanging stuff that's going on. I just wanted to give it a little bit of character. Of course, it needs a lot of touching up, it needs a lot of detailing, and it needs so much tidying up, like all of this jank and stuff. But this is just an idea that I've come up with that I just wanted to make it feel like it was an old school coaster. It's almost very similar, actually, to the Fundy Fun Spot Woody station that I did. It's that very typical old 80s wood style that I've got going on here. Painted wood that started to not rust away, because wood doesn't rust. Oh, I'm doing really well in this update, aren't I? The wood started to chip away, and they've repainted it, and it's chipped away again, and they've repainted it, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is what I've done here. Of course, we've got our ramps down here, and these fences are higher than they need to be because this is raised up. So it's almost a mix of don't die fencing versus fancy fencing. Yeah, that's a new term. So yeah, that's what I've done here. Is it's got this slightly higher thing. Just as a note on this one, by the way, this is one of the very rare roller coasters that would not be suitable for our guests that use wheelchairs because of the entrance and exit strategy to the trains itself. So as a result, this is one long ramp as opposed to one that's got respite areas, refuge areas that you tend to find a flat area where a wheelchair could go up, rest, go up, rest. So you have to be able to walk a certain distance unaided to be able to go onto this coaster. So that's why this is one long continuous ramp. And this here, I don't think I talked about this in the first update, so apologies if I did. But the strategy for the maintenance area on Big Loop at Hyder Park is really, really strange. Their maintenance area is actually this side of the station, and it's on the same level as the station, and then they have this same dip. I really don't know how they do that, right? I don't know how they get the train in and out, because there's no transfer track at the back. So anyway, what I've done is I've taken the cues from the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and I've started to put the maintenance area underneath here. But because of the way that the stations work and the way that they're shaped, in the sense that the roof is essentially here, I am not going to do inside here. So it's going to be the first maintenance area that's not going to be a maintenance area. But I just wanted to say, I wanted to see whether I can make a space-saving maintenance area work. And actually, I think it does. I think it works quite nicely. It's probably something I might need to do again, actually, because if I hadn't put the maintenance area here, the queue would have been underneath, and that's just boring. Like everybody does the queue underneath the station. It's boring. So yeah, I thought actually this is a quite nice little compact idea. So it works. It works in principle. I've checked it out with people, and they go, well, yeah, you don't need to necessarily have van access or anything because you've got this bit here. So the vans would actually be they would park here and take the trains off at this point. So your actual maintenance shed itself wouldn't need to have vehicular access because you've got it here. So hey, it works. We'll run with it. We've got photos. Hooray, photos. This one's just really simple. You'd have seen the building design before. I've just copied it across from previous designs and edited it slightly. And then we come to the PlomplePop clone. Again, this is not supposed to have any effort made to it. So unlike PlomplePop, that was really nicely themed, and it turned out really well with the cartoon theming, this would have been a 1980s style thing. Think, is it Octo Coaster, Octo something or other at Gardaland? Octo Baby? Something like that. It's the similar style principle. It's like a kid's coaster that is just plonked there. There's no real theming to it. There's no real effort to it. There's no real anything going on. So what I've done here is I've put this kind of canvas effect roof and thing on the top. And then we've got the station. Obviously, it needs kitting out with all of its normal Theme Maker's toolkits and stuff. But yeah, so I've just put this this canopy. I'm not entirely happy with it, but it's good enough. You know, it's a kid's coaster. And then I've put the tactile pathing down as well, because this feels like it would be almost like a travelling coaster that's been made permanent or semi-permanent. So that's kind of what we're going for here with the tactile paving. I can't do anything with the curbs. I'm just not fighting with the game anymore. I'm done with it. Like, auto saves are taking 41 minutes. I'm just losing my patience. So whatever, deal with it. And then we've got the maintenance area here. This is probably far too elaborate for the maintenance area in this kind of stage, but hey, it's the same as PlomplePop, right? So it's the whole idea of the maintenance area. So that needs its kitting out and detailing and stuff. Then I've got restaurant. So this restaurant is coming together quite nicely. I just need to change a few things. I'm not entirely happy with the pillars and stuff here because I've just messed them up, but it's fine. I'll fix that towards the end. But inside here, I've started to give it a bit of a rustic look. It feels a bit cold. I don't know what it is that's missing. I know it's missing doors and windows, but I don't know what it is that's missing at the moment. So I need to play it out, see what's going on, see what happens. And then we've got a patio area here that's just going to be for obviously eating outside. Lots of foliage and stuff that's going to go around here, so it's going to be feel a bit more private. Then we've got the train station. You would have seen the train station before. It's almost identical to Reigate Lake's train station because I liked the design, so I thought I'm just going to use the very similar design principle in the past. But again, it's this yellow colour for a reason. But it's actually all of this down here. I mean, the aquarium, it's such a hard act to follow. So what I've done here is I've just put some ideas of some fountains and stuff that would live in this area, just to make this area complete. And of course you're going to have foliage and stuff that's going to come down this way, and then what I've done here is I've left a gap. So this would actually be a gap where the water would run down off the top level of the top tier into the next tier, and then it would come down into a piping system where it would end up on this level, and it would continue to flow down, and eventually it would flow down into what would be here, and there'd be tanks here, and then there'd be a pump that would take it all the way to the top, and it would just circulate that way. I quite like how it looks. It's looking quite grand, and it's going to look awesome with the foliage and stuff, vegetation and whatever that's going to get put in. So it's going to be alright. Then we've got our merry-go-round. Again, it's supposed to look out of place. It's supposed to look like it's a bit of a tacked on, like the area has moved on, but this hasn't. But it still gives that Classicana kind of feel. So what I've gone for here, in theory, it probably wouldn't be red, but I've chosen red just to make it stand out properly. It would probably have been repainted and stuff over the time. But actually, I quite like how this looks. And what I've done, I saw this, I can't remember if it's Alton Towers or Thorpe Park, where the building is bigger than the ride, and the queue sort of wraps in and around it without you even noticing it. So that's what I've done here. I don't know if I've pulled it off. Again, you're going to have to let me know in the comments. But so what I've done is, like, I can't even explain it. So, like, the queue is on the outside of the building here, right? And then it comes through this way, and then it's on the inside of the building. And then it comes around, and then it's on the outside of the building. This is a kind of a happy accident, but I think it works. And as I said, I saw it at the teacups. I think it's either Thorpe Parks or Alton Towers. Can't remember which one it is. But so I've seen it in real life before. I've seen it happen. And I can't really work out how it happened or why it happened, because the ride hasn't changed shape. They haven't replaced the ride, and they wouldn't have moved the queue. Anyway, whatever. I don't care. It's there. It's there, and I've seen it in real life. And then, of course, we've just got the Enterprise. So over here, there's not really a lot to actually tell. All I've done is I've started to do some of the train work ahead of putting all of the pathing and stuff down. You know, this I'm going to use the herringbone brick that I've used elsewhere, so you can see that in the background here. So I've just started all of the train work so that this is going to start making sense once all of that pathing and stuff goes down. And then I have done all the walling, the walls and stuff along here. So you'll be surprised not to see don't die fencing. And I've actually done that by design. These are still 2 meters tall, so they are still considered don't die fencing, but it's not mesh fencing. It's actually got a bit of a personality. I quite like it. And then anywhere like over here, for example, where you couldn't actually get hit by a train if you wanted to, you don't actually need don't die fencing. You can just put lower level fencing, because the worst that could happen is they're going to stand underneath the track and not actually get affected by anything. But then you do have don't die fencing wherever the train comes down low to the track, and you could have a collision risk. So that's what I've done. Last thing to show you in this area then, other than the exit strategy for this platform, is our drop tower. So the drop tower is in, the queue line is obviously now in, and I've started to kit it out and decorate it. And the fencing design I've actually copied across from the Enterprise over here. Just wanted to keep that consistent. It felt like they would have a bit of a design consistency. And this is something I've not really touched on and put into a park before. It's the actual, the hydraulic houses that would be powering the actual drop tower itself. So I copied this from, I didn't copy it, but I got the inspiration from Ice Blast at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So of course there's the hydraulic house. So guys, that is the middle part of the episode. I'm going to carry on and you're going to see it done in a minute. But first, B&M, are you okay, hun? Alright then, you guys, I'm ready to get the done for now stamp out, because at the back here I've got quite a lot of work that I'm going to need to do in future episodes around all of the side here, and of course the front still needs its admin offices and stuff. That's not going to be this episode. I'm happy with how this has turned out. We've got ourselves a really, really out of place area, and it actually looks alright. It looks better than I thought it was going to. So we've got some names. The Corkscrew Coaster, that's going to be called Screw Loose, and thank you so much, Kieran Duke, for that one. You won the vote for that. And then the PlomplePop clone, that is Brezza Estavia, and that's Alex V, and I've just butchered Italian again. I am really sorry. Hey, the Italians are still watching, so I can't be that bad, right? So, by the way, I'm not going to talk about the maintenance area of the Corkscrew, because that will be the third time that I have told you about it. But hey, maintenance area for the Corkscrew. So, first off, I've done some work in this area. I've started to put all of the decoration and the foliage and stuff in. So yeah, we've now got a bit of a personality to the hill, and also I've just put some fences and stuff along this area. Of course, this is going to be where the admin areas and everything are going to be, so I've not done anything here. But I put the bridge in, I've put all of the rocks and the gravel and stuff down, so that's all in place. And then we're going to come into this area. So the railway station itself is pretty much done. I quite like how this now sits on the sightline. The game is tanking so bad. I'm using mouse movements and it's just taken so long to do anything. So yeah, I've just finished off this area. I like how this has turned out. Now, just a note, I did want this area to be open. I wanted it to be more grassy, but because of the way that the terrain and everything works, I've had to try and find ways of hiding some of the unsightliness of it. So actually what I've ended up doing is doing it as a bit of a built-up nature area, so a managed forest, if you like. And actually, it looks alright, because you've just got this empty space in the middle that is all of the fountains and whatever. What I've done is I've copied across the Grosvenor Gardens logo so that you know where you are, just to remind you that this is where you are, and then just put some foliage and stuff along here. There are some, by the way, imperfections here because of the way the terrain is working, like this bit down here I can't fix, this bit over here I can't fix, and I can't make it make sense. I'm just going to leave it. I'm done fighting with the game, I really am. It's so late in the season, I'm just like, oh, okay, game, do whatever, do what you want. And then over this way, I've just touched up all of the areas here. I've put the concrete and stuff down for the queue, so it's hiding all of the unsightly divider lines and stuff. All the usual bins and benches and whatever. No signs here, as I said, in many, many episodes so far. You guys that are the members, you know, the ones that have clicked join, you're going to be naming these towards the end of the series, so that's why there are no signs here just yet. I've put some catwalk clutter and stuff along here just to make that all make sense. Then I've got the merry-go-round again. This one does have a couple of signs. It's got its safety signs and its queue signs here, but there's no name. So again, we're going to get you guys to name this one. So that's cool. Then we're going to come over to the PlomplePop clone, which is now Brezza Estavia. I'm sure that's wrong. I'm totally sure that's wrong. But it's now got foliage and stuff on here. It's got a bit of more of a personality. I did toy with the idea of putting some of the theming stuff down, you know, the vintage stuff that I did with PlomplePop. But actually, I quite like it like this. I didn't think it needed anything else. It just sort of sits quite nicely on this sight line. So I like, by the way, how the fences give it a bit of personality. So it's not square. It's not like rounded off. It's all rounded off. It's not like harsh lines and stuff. So I quite like how this has turned out. And then here I've just put some fencing up along the side here. Not that the fence is going to do anything, because from the railway you're still going to be able to see down into the maintenance area, and from the from the brake run here you're still going to see it. So yeah, whatever. But what I have done is created a little secret world. There, little secret world of rubbish and crap that's underneath here. You can't see it from the station. You can't see it from the queue. You can't see it from the brake run either. So yeah, secret world. But yeah, the station itself, I haven't really done anything else with. I've just left it as it is. And my worry about it being a bit out of place is now a little bit feeling a bit better about it now that the foliage and stuff is in. It feels like it makes sense. And I didn't want this to have too much effort made to it. I wanted it to feel like it was almost like a temporary structure or something. So I think this just about achieves it. Might come back and just revisit and do some more touching up. But it's got all of its normal stuff, you know, the staff and the push points and whatever. They're all in here, so everything that you'd expect to find is all in here. And then we're going to come over to the Corkscrew coaster, so Screw Loose. There was a suggestion, by the way, for how to theme this, but unfortunately you guys... like the actual naming and everything is already done. So the theming, is already done by the time the vote is won. So... I don't get a chance to see who actually wins the vote to be able to use any of your theming suggestions. I just get to use your naming suggestions. So anyway, this is how it's turned out. So all of the fencing and stuff is now gone up, and all of the concrete and whatever on the queue has all gone down, and it's looking all right. There's going to be some stuff that's coming in here that's going to make this area make a bit more sense, and of course there's going to be a bit more terrain movement and stuff going on. So this is all going to be cleaned up in future episodes. So for now, this is what we've got as the station, and I quite like how this is all come together. Right, I quite like this front area here with the overhangs and stuff. It's looking all right. And then because this is a cattle pen hill, I have just put in some queue covers, and I've just copied those across, so they're consistently designed from the rest of the park, right? So yeah, so I've just put some queue covers in. Did I mention this maintenance area? I'm not going to, sorry. inside the station, I've just done some touching up. So we've got the toolkit items and the usual station clutter. This would not have any theming. This would not have any like control booth or anything like that. This would be as you get it, so because they are cheap coasters, like Vekomas are just notoriously cheap for this kind of corkscrew coaster, so no effort involved in this one. It just is what it is. But I quite like how it's turned out. I like the colours. I like the design of the let me just move up a little bit. The design of the roof and the beams and everything. It's just quite nice. It's nice and rustic. It's perfect for what we're trying to achieve. We get some awesome sight lines, by the way, if we come back this way from like this area here. No, that's an awesome sight line because that's a tree. Hey, have we had one this episode? I don't think we have. There you go. There's the tree shot. Oh, there's a second tree shot just for good measure. So you guess... I'm not even going to re-record this. This is going to go out like this, professional as ever. So yeah, that's the awesome sight that you get with the corkscrews. Then, as you got coming through, so you've got the loops here and the corkscrews here, and then this is the plaza area. I did toy with putting in games and stuff in here. But actually, I decided to keep it open. It felt like it would need to be open because it's quite a lot of guests, quite a few guests going to come through here and stuff. So yeah, I've just kept it as it is. Then I just put flowers and planters and stuff down. I think these were in the last update anyway, but I've just tidied this up and made it all make sense. And then inside here, it's now got a little bit more of a personality. It's called pendulos. It's a made-up word. I'm sure it's going to be offensive in somebody's language. So apologies. I have a habit of making up words that end up being offensive in different languages. So pendulos. And then inside I have just done quite a little bit of touching up, so it's now got a bit more of a personality than it did before. I think the reason that it felt cold was because there was no movement, so I've just put the fans in, and that now makes this make more sense. So I'm using the same principle, by the way, as all of the other insides that I've now done. Piece count needs conserving because, as you can see, the game is tanking. So I'm just doing the minimum, like the $2.20 principle. It just needs to be believable rather than fully fleshed out, which is a change from everything else. And by the way, that guy has just walked through the wall because there's stuff from behind it. So yeah, inside here is now done, but the outside is where I'm sort of most happy. Because you've got this wood effect, and it just feels like this would be an original building that was here when the park first opened. And if I just swap the camera moving around, you then get a pretty decent view of the first drop of the coaster. And now, as we are in like 2022, you now get all of the rest of the park in the background too, so you can see all of the rides and attractions that have since been added. So yeah, this is the top area of the park then. So it's now sitting quite nicely on this sight line, and if we look down this way, this is how everything else is looking from the view of the rest of the park. So the next 2 episodes are going to be focusing on finishing up the park in these 2 areas here. So I think I'm going to come around the back here first, and then I'm going to come into the big finale coaster that's going to come in. Yes, it's a coaster that's going to come in here. So watch this space for that. Guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. This one, Unlucky 13, you'll have to let me know how you how you thought the episode went. As I said, the aquarium's a hard act to follow, but really do appreciate you getting to the end of the video. Really do appreciate all of your support, your likes, your comments, and everything. Thank you so much. I will see you again next week. Please look after yourselves until then. Take care. Bye-bye.